What's up, Michigan fans? Welcome back to the Maize and Bluebeard podcast, where we talk all things Michigan sports, especially football and basketball. In Double B and the place to be, go blue. Thanks for being here. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Michigan's big win against Sparty at the Breslin. Let's freaking go. We're going to talk about what's coming up on the channel, including today looking at our very first position group and how it's changed and if it's a good thing or a bad thing. And then, of course, we'll talk recruiting, we'll talk the question of the day, and we're going to start a new segment in the show, in the video, where we're going to take a spin around Michigan sports and see what else is going on outside of football and basketball. All that and more on this episode of the Maize and Bluebeard podcast. Let's get into it. Sing it with me. 1, 2, you know what to do. Hail to the victors valiant, hail to the conquering heroes, hail, hail to Michigan, the leaders and best, hail to the victors valiant, hail to the conquering heroes, hail, hail to Michigan, the champions of the West. Go blue! And champions of the state, as Michigan tonight in a battle of top 10 teams and teams tied for first place in the Big Ten. Michigan goes into the Breslin Center in East Lansing on Tom Izzo's birthday and knocks off the Spartans. They win 83-71. What a win for these Michigan Wolverines. We're going to talk all about it, but first, what a fantastic win. The first half, they lit the place up. They blew the roof off the Breslin. They were flying, and they were winning by as many as 18. They were up 16 at the half. Things were looking good. And then they came out a little flat, struggled with their shooting, looked a lot like the Nebraska start to the second half. And Jeremy Fears Jr., a beast, he went off. Michigan State got right back in it. Eventually, they took the lead, but only for a few seconds. Michigan regained the lead, and then from there, they pulled away, hit their free throws down the stretch, and they win by 12. Fantastic game. Game ball goes to Elliot Cadeau, our point guard. We have been waiting for him to have that breakout game, that signature game, and he did it tonight. He hit big shot after big shot. He had 17 points, 6 assists, knocked down some threes, and had only 2 turnovers, and he was just a leader on the court. So it was fantastic to see that. But Yaxel Lindenborg had a heck of a game as well. 26 points. He made 13 out of 15 free throws. Absolutely insane. He did a great job. Double-digit rebounds. Fantastic game. He showed us what he is made of. We've all seen that potential. He finally put it together on both ends of the court. Great defense, great offense, and knocking down his free throws, being a leader, being vocal, getting guys pumped up. It was amazing to see, and that's the guy that we need to see the rest of the year, because he's an incredible player that's going to be playing in the NBA very soon. So we need to see that. Yaxel, way to go. Awesome stuff. So many layers to peel back from this. If I sniffle, I'm sorry, I know it's gross, but I've got some congestion and a cold I'm fighting. And if I don't do it, every once in a while I can't breathe or talk. But anyway, so much going into this game. You know, obviously it's Michigan State. That's always stressful. Always, you got that extra layer of dread. Like, oh, my Michigan State friends are going to be so annoying, or all the State fans on the social media are going to be so annoyed. You know, you always got that layer, but now you start adding in some things. For one, out of left field, all of a sudden the camera shows Dan Campbell sitting down with a Michigan State hat on. Apparently he's a Michigan State fan. What? I have to look into this more. But apparently he's a Michigan State fan. I still love Campbell and the Lions. It's all right. But Hutch, come on. You got to help him out. Get him on the right side. Before the game, during the shoot-around, a lot of you probably saw images or video. Here's the video right here. I'm going to let it play for a minute and then just show some still frames. Dusty May is a gangster, an ice-cold gangster, a legend. Mother effing Dusty May is standing by his team's bench watching the shoot-around when a bunch of student section fans come over and they all start heckling him, yelling at him, chanting things at him. It looks like one of them even spit at him possibly at one point. Very just classless stuff. Classless stuff. What does Dusty May do? Never turns around, never engages with him. In fact, he sits down even closer to them and smiles, and that's where we get some of these pictures. I mean, I love Dusty May already, but this just makes me love him more. I mean, the guy is just, talk about high character, just does everything right, just lives life the right way. He knows those are just kids having fun and they're caught up in the moment. He's not going to get after them and be a jerk, you know? And he's just going to enjoy it. He's going to enjoy the rivalry. He's going to enjoy the experience. And he knows that he's a BA. He's awesome. He's a legend. He doesn't need to worry about them. So I love that. That's an iconic image I'll never forget now. I friggin' love that. But coming into the game, of course, earlier in the week, we beat Nebraska, which, hold on a second. 2 top 10 wins in this week. We wanted to see what Michigan was made of, and they proved it. It doesn't matter how close the wins are. A win is a win. Just win, baby. And plus, they won by double digits, and they led most of the game. And then the other day against Nebraska, they trailed most of the game, and they gritted it out and pulled it out in the end. Michigan wins a national championship this year. If we get that natty, none of us are going to care if they win ugly or they win by 50, as long as they just win. So do whatever you got to do to win each game, one game at a time, and grind it out or blow them out. It doesn't matter. Just win, baby. Let's get that natty. But anyway, back to what I was saying. All week long after the Nebraska game, I did a post-game live chat. I had some Nebraska fans in there. They were awesome. I praised their team. They praised Michigan. Very, very good. I think most Nebraska fans are good like that. But then you had some on social media all week long. It just kept getting worse and worse. And then the Michigan State fans were joining in, and they're ganging up and talking about how Michigan only won because of the refs, and how these fouls, that turn the game around, didn't get called. There were bad calls both ways, and it was just a good, hard-fought game. And Nebraska plays a lot. Their strength is their perimeter. They're a tough team, but they don't throw the ball inside and drive a lot. They shoot a lot of threes and jump shots, and they're really good at that. You're not going to get as many fouls. It is what it is. Michigan drives a lot. They have big guys inside who are going to get hacked. It's going to happen. Michigan's always going to get a lot of fouls called the other way. It's not something we're used to, but under Dusty May, that's just how it is. He likes to use the big men. But anyway, and then even Nebraska fans showing Michigan, Chrysler Center, 6 seconds into the game, and they're showing there's empty seats. Nobody even goes there to watch. They don't even care. Like, come on, 6 seconds in, people are getting to their seats. They're getting snacks. They're going to the bathroom. That's how it is anywhere, at any game. Like, come on. So anyway, you had all this, and then they're talking. Michigan State's talking. Michigan only won because of the refs. Michigan only won because Nebraska was missing 2 of their players. When they play Michigan State, they're going to kill them, and blah, 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 blah. And look what happens. Michigan comes out, plays hard, overcomes a little bit of a slow hiccup start in the second half, and they win by double digits. They are the top team in the Big Ten by themselves, 10-1, 20-1 overall. And we got 9 games to go, and I'm feeling good. Feeling real good. Their next game is next week, Thursday. They play Penn State. Hopefully they blow them out, and it goes much better than it did the last time we played them. Penn State is winless in the Big Ten at 0-10. So Michigan just needs this to be a get-right game. Then they play Ohio State, who they've already beat, who we know they're much better than. Then they play Northwestern, who is middle of the pack. They should be able to beat them. Then comes a couple tough games. UCLA and Purdue, both solid, good teams up near the top. Not at the top. That's where Michigan is. But they're going to be really good tests, so we'll see what we're made of again. But what a week. 2 top 10 games. We wanted to see what they were made of. They proved what they're made of. They won both. Just win, baby. 20-1, 10-1 in the Big Ten. Let's freaking go. Go blue. So let's talk about quarterbacks and how this room has transformed. So you look at, compared to last year, we had Bryce Underwood coming in as a true freshman. No quarterback coach. That's already a million times better since we have one now. But no quarterback coach. We have Bryce Underwood coming in as a freshman. What else was in the room? You had Jaden Davis, who had so much talent, so much potential. We were excited we got him, and he couldn't get into the game with Alex Orji and Davis Warren being our quarterbacks. And you just wondered, you heard a lot that his mechanics were off, that he was a turnover machine in practice. You heard that his family didn't want him to play. They wanted him to redshirt and to not get injured for his future. But now he's going to East Tennessee. So you wonder, was that even really true? I don't know. Who knows? But he was there, and he ended up being the backup. You brought in Mikey Keene, which I was excited about because he looked pretty good the year before when Michigan played him. But he never played. He was injured. So he, didn't really have a chance to do anything. So that we had him, but he couldn't play because he was injured. And then we had Jake Garcia, who came from East Carolina. I never saw anything about him. His highlights from East Carolina seemed cool, but he, never really did anything. So, and then we had Chase Herbstreit, Kirk Herbstreit's son, but he was a true freshman. He didn't really do anything. So we didn't have a lot in there. I mean, you think about, we had Bryce Underwood with all that raw talent and all the money we were paying him. You knew he was going to start, most likely. And you thought maybe Mikey King could push him, could start. They could do a quarterback share, and maybe Bryce would take over eventually. But Mike Keene was injured, and there was really nobody else in there with experience to help teach or push or have Bryce learn from. And there was no QB coach. So the QB room was kind of a mess. And it's really like, it was almost like Underwood, Chip Lindsey, I think, is a smart offensive mind, but he was coaching from the press box, and he was offensive coordinator / QB coach. So who's helping Bryce on the field? Nobody. So what a mess. He basically just went out and played recess ball, and nobody talked to him after good or bad plays, and just wild stuff. But now you look at this year, and the transformation has begun. First, Bryce Underwood is a year older. He's got game experience, a full season's worth of experience. He flashed at times. He showed his potential. He showed his talent. And now he's got a great coaching staff. We have a great QB coach, Coy Detmer Jr., who's going to be able to help him, who's going to be able to talk to him after every series when he comes off the field. Hey, you did really good with this, but you messed up here, or you made a good play there, but that was the wrong choice, actually, because you're lucky you got away with that throw. It's going to be amazing. The level of progress and growth Bryce is going to be able to have because of just having a QB coach is going to be awesome. But let's see what he's got in the room. Now he's got a veteran who has a lot of game experience, who is also a mobile quarterback, not as athletic as Bryce, but very athletic, and who's played in big games and who's been around the block, and who was immature at times in his younger years and has hopefully matured and grown up and can also help Bryce understand that. But also who can push him in practice and who can come in and play at a good level. And that's Brayden Fowler-Nicolosi from Colorado State, who I'm very excited that we have. A lot of people think that he don't like some of the antics they saw from him at Colorado State. And he threw a lot of interceptions, but he's a gunslinger. And as a backup, I don't mind a gunslinger who's going to throw it down the field and take some risk if he has to come in and try to win us a game. But also, I trust Coy Detmer Jr. and the coaching staff to kind of coach out too much of that out of him. And I also think they're going to help him grow as a person. So I'm not worried about him at all. And then what else do we bring in? What I'm most excited about, they bring in an amazing quarterback out of nowhere from LSU, Colin Hurley, who was a 5-star recruit, but he came in and reclassified so that he was a class earlier. And he ended up going to a 4-star, but originally a 5-star recruit. Watch his high school tape. This dude is electric, dynamic. He's got a heck of an arm. He's athletic. Some of the tape I saw, he looks even better than Bryce. I'm just saying. The dude's amazing. So now we have this. Both of these guys, I think, could start at other schools. Obviously, Fowler-Nicolosi did. But I think Colin Hurley could start for a lot of teams that don't have an ingrained, really talented quarterback. So now we've got these two quarterbacks that can battle out for the backup job. The spring game is going to be a lot of fun. And they also can push Bryce. They can all learn from each other. And we have this tight-knit, talented QB room. And then waiting in the wings, we've got some freshmen coming in this year who are going to be amazing. I mean, first we've got some holdover. We got Chase Herbstreit's coming back. He's been there in the old offense, and he knows what Bryce is going through. He knows what the transition's been like. He knows what he went through last year under Sharon Moore. So he can kind of be that bridge person that's still there and can help him through all of this because he's going through it too. So that's pretty awesome. And I mean, he was pretty talented in high school. Who knows what he can do? It'll be interesting to see him in practice and hear more about him. Maybe he'll get some more reps and stuff and he can grow as a player as well. But then we have some freshmen coming in that I'm excited about. We've got another one of Lloyd Carr's grandsons. Tommy Carr is coming here. He's an athletic, mobile quarterback. He's fun, so I'm excited that he's in that room. He's going to gain experience from those guys and from this coaching staff, and that's awesome. And then we got another talented freshman quarterback coming in, Brady Schmeagle. Schmeagle! Filthy hobbitses! I'm sorry, I had to. My precious. So you've got these two stud freshmen coming in. You've got a holdover who knows what Bryce is going through, who can help him. You've got a talented veteran gunslinger who's got experience and who can not only push Bryce but help him. And you've also got a young stud with oozing potential who can be the heir apparent. For now, there's more recruits coming in the year after that. But the quarterback room is in fantastic shape. Way better than it was last year. Knock on wood. We don't want anything to happen to Bryce, but if it did, I would feel comfortable with what we have in there and this coaching staff that the season wouldn't completely go off the rails. It would be very disappointing, but still, we've got a lot of talent in there. Way more than last year. So it's pretty exciting. We'll see who wins the backup job. Let me know in the comments who you think is going to win. I would think it'll be Brayden Fowler-Nicolosi with his experience and his athleticism. But don't count out Colin Hurley because he was pretty amazing. Let's talk about some stats really quick of the top three quarterbacks. All right, I'm going to read off the stats because I can't memorize them and then look at the camera. And I don't want to have a bunch of cuts while I try to pretend that I can. So here we go. So he passed for 2,428 yards, 11 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He had a completion percentage of 60% and an average of his passes of 7.2 yards, long of 69. That's pretty cool. We all remember that. And his rating was not terrible, 126.6. Not terrible for a true freshman quarterback. Especially with the coaching that was going on and the tug of war on the offense. Not having a QB coach, don't get me started. Let me see. Let's look at his rushing stats. 88 carries, 392 yards, 4.5 average. That's pretty good for a quarterback because he did get sacked sometimes. 6 touchdowns, long of 37. Awesome stuff. So altogether, 17 touchdowns between passing and rushing. So, I mean, not terrible for a true freshman. Pretty good, especially when you consider the situation that he was in. Now he's going to have that experience. He's going to have a real QB coach. He's going to have a real offensive coordinator and coach who are really caring about him as a person, wanting him to grow as a person and as a football player. And, oh, man, the sky is the limit. I mean, it's just look what Jason Beck did with Devin Dampier. A very talented QB, but until he got with Jason Beck and Utah and they got rolling, man, he just looked incredible. I mean, he looked good at New Mexico, but then every year he got better. And I can't wait to see what they do with Bryce Underwood and with Fowler-Nicolosi and with Colin Hurley and all those freshmen. So awesome stuff. Let's talk about Fowler-Nicolosi's stats. All right, so let's do his career stats, and then I'll kind of break down some highlights and lowlights from year to year. So 4 years at Colorado State University, he completed 60% of his passes for 6,938 yards, an average of 7.2, 38 touchdowns, 29 interceptions, a long of 85, was sacked 28 times, had a QB rating of 127.3. He also rushed 95 times for 59 yards, for 6 touchdowns. So he is athletic, but he's not. They weren't calling running plays for him very often. He was more keep the play alive, and then that gunslinger comes in. Instead of running, he's going to throw it and try to fit it into a window. But I think he has the athleticism to do really well in a Jason Beck offense. So I think that they would design running plays for him, and I think they would help coach him to learn how to just keep the ball and run and get a few yards. Don't try to make a play when there's nothing there. Let's look at some highlights and lowlights. All right, so highlight, his 2 years where he's like his freshman year, he didn't play that much, so he only attempted 37 passes and had 194 yards. But his sophomore and junior year, well, he probably redshirted that year because this was his 5th year. So anyway, his 2 years of starting, being the full-time starter, in 2023, he passed for 3,400 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions. And in the next year, 2024, he passed for 2,796 yards, 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And his QB rating was 132 in 2023, 129 in 2024. He always threw more touchdowns than interceptions when he was the starter, and his rating and percentage were okay. They weren't abysmal, but if you watch him play, he's got some swag. That's something I can't explain through stats, but I did want to tell you guys. 2023, I think he ran a little bit less. He had negative yards, probably from all the sacks. He got sacked 12 times his first year as a starter. His 2024, he had 75 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns, and he only got sacked 9 times. So he grew as a runner there. And of course, his final year, he only played in a game or two. There was a coaching change. They fired his coach. He lost his starting job, and he ended up basically planning to transfer and didn't play the rest of the year. He is someone that I am intrigued by. He's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of confidence and swagger. But I don't think he had the right adults around him and the right support system. If you remember some of that Colorado stuff when he was, running his mouth and talking smack with that confidence, his coach was also doing the same with Deion Sanders. So I don't think he was learning the best lessons from people when he was there. And I think that he's going to have to mature if he hasn't already. Because Kyle Whittingham and Jason Beck aren't going to put up with that stuff. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity for him to grow as a player and a person, and I'm excited to see what happens. Let's talk about Colin Hurley's stats in high school. All right, so listen to this. Okay, this is how talented this guy was. All right, so in 2020, he's an 8th grader. He's so good that he actually plays on the varsity, and he gets some snaps at QB, probably some like gimmicky running kind of stuff, but as an 8th grader, okay? And they won the state championship, so they were a very good team, but he got playing time as an 8th grader on a state championship team. Come on now. In 2021, he's a freshman, okay? He was named the FloridaHighSchoolFootball.com Class 2A Player of the Year. Listen to his stats as a freshman in high school on the varsity, on a team that again won the state title back-to-back. And as a freshman, he started 144 of 257 for 56% completion, 2,146 yards with 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. But he had twice as many touchdowns. And they won the state title as a freshman. Okay? Sophomore, he was injured, so he missed a few games, but he still threw for 1,500 yards, 17 TDs, and 5 interceptions. He cut those interceptions way down. And he completed 53% of his passes. And then his final year, of course, he reclassified, as we talked about, so that he could go in an earlier class. Let's see. They made it to the semifinals this year. They did not win the playoffs again, but they went 9-4, and he completed 56, actually almost 57% of his passes for 2,242 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. See, he improved the touchdowns and kept the interceptions low. And as a runner, he added 177 yards and 5 touchdowns. So 31 touchdowns altogether. That's pretty awesome. So, I mean, you see what I mean. Dude's incredible. I mean, he's playing on a state championship team as an eighth grader. And he starts for a back-to-back state championship team as a ninth grader and put up some pretty cool numbers. Like, I'm excited about this kid, and I can't wait to see what this coaching staff does. With him. I mean, he's got 4 years of eligibility, so let's just look at it and think. Okay, we've got a ton of stud recruits coming in. One of them might be the guy that takes over when Bryce goes, but let's just think about what it could look like if Hurley doesn't transfer again. You know, that's always a possibility. He wants to go somewhere and start, but let's just say he stays. Bryce Underwood next year will be a sophomore. Let's say he has a great year, and then his junior year he has another great year. Most likely he's going to the NFL. Well, guess what? He's gone, and then that following year, Colin Hurley's only a junior, and he's been learning in this system from Jason Beck and Kyle Whittingham, growing as a player and a person, learning from Bryce Underwood. He's probably been the backup. He's played some. That's pretty exciting. And then we also have a stable of freshman guys or any transfer portal veterans they've gotten. Like, it's just, this QB room is so exciting. It's exciting to have a QB room with all this talent where you're not just like, oh gosh, please don't let the starter get hurt. You know, I mean, I don't want that to happen, but it's just cool to have great talent back there. So I think the QB room improved leaps and bounds, and I'm excited about it. Let me know in the comments what you think about the QB room and who you think will win the backup job. And also let me know how you think Bryce is going to do. I think his touchdowns are going to go way up and his interceptions are going to go down. I think that it's going to be an amazing year. I think his rushing stats are going to go way up too. And it's going to be fun. Not a ton of recruiting news that I want to share with you, but I do have 3 things that are really cool that I want to share. First of all, I talked about how Michigan sent the house, a bunch of coaches, to go see Dakota Garant after Oregon got the crystal ball to get him. Michigan went and met with him and said, "Hey, you're our guy. You are a focus for us. That's why we're all here." That was awesome. And then the next day, they do the same thing with Ricardo Kitchens from Muskegon. Get him all pumped up, an awesome edge. And now they're doing the same thing again. They went to the high school of Charles Woodson Jr., a very highly thought of and recruited safety, and the son of Michigan legend Charles Woodson. Kyle Whittingham, Jay Hill, Tyler Stockton, Lou Esposito, and Lewis Powell all went to see Charles Woodson Jr., and he was impressed, and they had a great time chatting. So I am so excited at the thought of having another Charles Woodson on Michigan. So let's hope we can snag him. Ooh, that would be awesome. Awesome stuff. And then offer-wise, Michigan offered a linebacker / athlete from the state of Michigan, from Howell, who is a team that was kind of close by the high school I used to work at when I lived in Michigan. I did see him play, and he's a really talented player. I think he would be a really cool linebacker for Michigan to get. And that is Bryce Kish. And they did offer him. He's excited about the offer. We'll see. He's got other offers too. But that was cool that they offered another talented player in the state of Michigan. And finally, Michigan has signed another commit for the 2026 incoming class. And it's a long snapper. I know. They got Nico Crawford from Pitt, and they got Gavin Majorian from Marshall, a redshirt freshman. And now they brought in a recruit for this year, Jake Trudelar from Illinois, a very highly ranked long snapper in this recruiting class, in the top 20 of his recruiting class. And he's pumped to be here. Michigan's pumped to have him. They had a long snapper in the class, but he left and went elsewhere. And I thought they filled that role with the Marshall long snapper, but it looks like they wanted to bring in a recruit, which is awesome because they got Baguette, a kicker, and now they got Trudelar. They're gonna have a recruit long snapper coming in. And look at this guy. He looks like a ripped beast. Maybe he can play linebacker or safety or something too. But he's a great long snapper. I read about him. His coaches rave about him. Kerry Combs is excited to have him. So it's these layers that they have, even in special teams, attention to detail, thinking forward thinking to the future. You know, you lose a long snapper recruit, you bring one in. You lose a kicking recruit, you bring one in. Doesn't matter if you have a redshirt freshman kicker already on the team, or if you have a redshirt freshman long snapper. Bring that recruit in. Fill that room. Fill that depth. Let them learn so that someday when the other guy's gone, you got someone that can step in. Come on. Or if there's an injury, like just this coaching staff is brilliant, guys. I'm telling you. But that's all the recruiting news for today. I'll have more in the next video, but I kind of went along with Michigan State, Michigan basketball, and the QB room talk. So that's it for today. But get excited about Charles Woodson Jr. I mean, come on now. Come on. That's awesome stuff. Let's take a quick look around at Michigan sports and talk about other teams and how they are doing. The women's basketball team defeated Indiana on Thursday night, 95-67, and they improved to 18-3 overall and 9-1 in the Big Ten. They're having a fantastic year. Michigan's wrestling team is number 10 in the country and is 4-0 in Big Ten duels. So they're having a great start to the year. Michigan hockey is 21-4 and 12-3 in the Big Ten. They are rocking it out. Ohio State having a down year, 8-14-1, 4-9 in the Big Ten. The two teams will play again Saturday. Go Blue. So that's a look around. I'll add more to this segment as time goes on, but just wanted to let you know that there's some exciting things going on in the other sports at Michigan as well. And finally, let's take a look at the results to yesterday's question of the day. I ask a question of the day every day for you Wolverines fans. So make sure if you haven't answered today's yet, after this video is done, you go to my community tab and go in there and answer the question of the day. And tomorrow, I'll tell you the results. So yesterday, because we were getting ready for the big game between Michigan and Michigan State, I asked, how do you think this game will go? Will Michigan win by 50 and get back to their 50-plus win totals they were having? Will Michigan squeeze out a tough one, grind it out and win? Will Michigan win by double digits, or will Michigan State win? The results are in, and here they are. The winning choice was Michigan won a tough one. They actually ended up winning by double digits, which was the second most voted on choice. But it was kind of both, right? It was a tough one. It was close there for a little bit, but they did win by double digits. So I thought it was going to be a close one too. I wanted them to win by 50 or double digits, and they did win by double digits. But it was a little bit heart palpitating for a little bit there. But thanks everybody who voted. Make sure you vote for today's question of the day as well. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Maize and Bluebeard podcast. Thank you again for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed the video today. If this is your first time here, please subscribe. Give me a like. It helps the channel grow, helps the community that we're trying to grow, and it'll help you know when I have more content out. And also, please leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about any of the topics in the video, or just talk about some Michigan sports with me. I love to talk to everyone in the comments. I always respond to every comment, and I'll see you down there. But that's going to do it. So everybody have a fantastic rest of your Saturday. I will see you in the next video. And until I do, as always, go Blue. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine.